This is Smiles TV. Welcome to Smiles TV. I'm Stephanie Miles, and you're watching the best community affairs broadcast in the country. We have an excellent broadcast for you today. I'll be talking with Coach Melanie McClellan, and she's going to teach you how to be healthy. Also, a little bit later in the broadcast, we have What's on Your Mind with Dr. Dez. You don't want to miss this broadcast. Remember, Jesus Christ was born of a virgin. He was crucified and buried, and he rose on the third day. Confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord. Believe in your heart that God has raised him from the dead, and thou shalt be saved. Stay tuned for more Smiles.
You are invited to join R89 Blocks. East St. Louis School District 189 invites you to become a part of the Urban Education Teacher Residency Program. You can earn $30,000 and receive supportive training, secure an Illinois teacher's license, obtain a master's degree, and transform lives. Contact East St. Louis School District 189 for more information. While you're at it, don't miss School District 189's Recruitment Fair. The Recruitment Fair will be held on March 23rd from 9 a.m. until 12 noon. All kinds of positions are available. That's right, come out and learn how to become a part of the 89 Blocks. The Recruitment Fair will be held on Saturday, March 23rd from 9 to 12 noon. An array of positions are available.
I'm sitting here with Coach Melanie McClellan, and she has been dealing with me in the past and trying to get me healthy, so I'm going to share that good news with you. She has a journal out. It's an interactive journal. It's a wellness journal, How to Unwrap You. And as a matter of fact, the name of her business is UnWrap You. Coach Melanie, thank you so much for coming to Smiles TV.
You are welcome, Stephanie. Thanks for having me.
It's just great to see you. And like I told our guests, you know, we've talked in the past, and I keep saying I want to get healthy, and you want me to get healthy. So this is going to be the start of it.
Yes.
Tell our audience a little bit about your background and how you got into the health and wellness business.
How I got into the health and wellness business, a little bit about my background. I graduated from Southern Illinois University with a marketing degree, went into pharmaceutical sales. So I was selling diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol medication. And it just dawned on me once I started seeing people with bags of medicine, like, this has to change. What can we do to improve the outcomes? And as I talk to physicians, I'm asking them what needs to be done. It's all about lifestyle change. I kept hearing lifestyle change. Get yourself healthy, eating right, exercise. But a lot of people don't know exactly how to do that. So I went back to nutrition school, took my knowledge that I have from the pharmaceutical sales, and started my business in 2013. So UnWrap You is an LLC, and it is really helping transform people's lives. And the reason why is because putting together a foolproof program, it's like we study everything else, but who studied nutrition?
Wow.
We eat what our parents told us or what they give us, and it's not any thought put into sometimes making a plan, setting goals, and that's what I do, starting with mindset and really creating behavior modifications.
When we talk about getting healthy and when we talk about healthy food, to me, honestly, it sounds a little boring. How can we make our food more exciting and still keep that flavor? And get rid of those things that would cause the diabetes and high blood pressure? What are we to do?
Well, you know what, Stephanie, you said the word boring. Food is not for excitement. That's what I try to teach my clients. I'm like, immediately the first thing is we eat for nourishment, not for excitement. And that's what, you know, when you have your girlfriend time or your family time, it's always based around food. And, you know, what do you want to do? Let's go out to eat. What are you going to do? Go out to eat. Come over, bring food. But I consider myself to really enjoy the things that I eat, because everything in moderation. And there are so many different ways. I mean, it would take a couple of shows for me to tell you how to do everything right and to have it just flawlessly tasty. But that's why people contact me. Mindset, but also knowing like what foods to eat, how to combine your foods, the frequency of it. It really is a lot to proper nutrition.
The term wellness could mean a lot to a lot of different people, but what does wellness mean to you?
Wellness means just really people living their best life. We talked about nutrition, exercise, mindset, really making sure they're prioritizing themselves and have a real clear plan as to far as how to get there and what they're going to do.
And speaking on wellness, I understand that you do corporate training in wellness as well as individual training?
Yes. So what I do is I go into companies and create and implement their on-site wellness programs. Studies have shown the larger companies have workplace wellness and that employees are very receptive to it. But small to mid-sized businesses cannot necessarily afford to have a person that specializes in it. So I go in, do workshops, lunch and learns, challenges, really making it exciting, trying to get employees engaged, making sure that they are feeling let's use one example. I go into a company. Employees are standing at their desk working, Stephanie, all day, not even getting up for a bio break. It's like you have to get up and move. So really just trying to incorporate small changes to make an impact on the employees. Having a positive mindset of going through it. Also, I go and do one-on-one coaching with executives because we're talking about work-life balance. It's really off right now because a lot of times with our executives, they are working longer hours, a lot of stress, and not really taking the time for themselves.
So when you're doing that one-on-one training, and how do you tailor the program for the individual?
I tailor it based on the needs. After doing an assessment, we kind of figure out what their goals are, what they're trying to achieve, and work through it. And I believe in taking small, 1 to 2 at a time, rather than having 10 goals and then you look up and it's like, oh, this is overwhelming. I can't do this.
Okay.
So what I really do is focus on making sure that everybody have a specialized program. No two look the same, honestly. And then, of course, I go around and do my speaking engagements because I love empowering people. You know, you stand in front of them and some people can take a few tips and run with them. Some people need a little bit more help, but it's also just opening up the mindset in order to say, oh, wow, I need to make some changes here. Because I've learned over these past years that it's not all about weight. Some people do, want to lose weight. It started off for me thinking people, that's what they wanted. But people are stressed. People are not happy. People are feeling just the pressures of life.
Right, and we have to wrap up. Unwrap.
Unwrap.
We have to unwrap. But tell me, what am I holding here, and tell our audience about your interactive wellness journal.
Well, you're holding this is a powerful tool, the interactive wellness journal. I created because when I work with clients, this is kind of like creating a blueprint for their success. When you go through, we're talking about first with mindset, goal setting.
That's what I'm looking at.
Yes, we even have, if you flip through it, the wealth page, talking about the keys to success. So if you go over wealth, I talk about that's water, exercise, labels, and portions. Because a lot of times people are not paying attention to what they're doing. And this here, every week there is a health tip, and then there's free writing because it's just something really relaxing about being able to write down your thoughts and then being able to date it and go back and look at the progress that you've made. Because sometimes when you go so far, you don't see where you were. And it's important to say, oh, wow, I've made progress, and to really celebrate that. Because I think sometimes people are so intense and overwhelmed. I got to do this, I got to do that. And then you kind of forget the progress that you've made over time.
If people want to make contact with you and would like for you to be their coach, how can they do that?
Easily, they can contact me at coachmelody@unwrapu.com. That's my email, coachmelody@unwrapu.com, and that's YOU. And my website is www.unwrapu.com. So they can look on the website at the contact me page, and it has my email and my cell phone number. So don't hesitate, give me a call or email me. I would love to come into your company or work with you personally, and I look forward to the opportunity.
We're going to go ahead and sign off on this segment now, but if there are any lasting words you would like to give our audience in terms of being healthy for the rest of the year, for the life, not the year, because it's a lifestyle.
Yes, I told you before, I am all about lifestyle change, and if I could say anything, it would be invest in your health. I hear people making so many excuses about why I can't, what I can't do. It can be done, and just sometimes people need a little help, or a little boost, a jump start, and that's where a professional like myself come into play. So I would just leave you all with always invest in your health, and contact Coach Melody at unwrapu.com.
And where can they get to your book?
they can go to Amazon and order them, and I have them personally as well. But if they're listening from all over the United States, I would say go, and you can always Google Coach Melody, and I have a YouTube page as well with different videos available. Just Coach Melody.
Thank you again for coming, and I do plan to get healthy.
All right.
Okay.
I look forward to getting healthy.
And
with you.
I'm on camera, I said that, so I'm going to get healthy
Yes.
with you. And thank you for coming to share
You're
your
welcome,
wealth of knowledge.
Stephanie.
We really do appreciate you.
Thank you.
Don't go away. We have much more coming up with What's on Your Mind with Dr. Des. Don't forget to support Coach Melanie. You can go on her website, find out about her book. It's an interactive wellness journal. UnWrap You, Coach Melanie McClellan. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Stay tuned for more smiles. When you visit Big Mama's in East St. Louis, Illinois, located at 5900 St. Clair Avenue, you will need a fork and a bib. Big Mama's is known for their barbecue, cakes, excellent service, and giving back to the community. Call in, eat in, drive through, carry out, order for your office. You can call Big Mama's at 618-398-8950 or visit 5900 St. Clair Avenue in East St. Louis, Illinois.
For several generations, Personal Touch Boutique has met the needs of our community for proms, weddings, funerals, school uniforms. Personal Touch Boutique has awarded scholarships to our community. Personal Touch Boutique has kept the tradition of East St. Louis being the fashion capital of the USA for men's. Our collection of suits, shoes, shirt sets, coats, hats, and caps are priced for our community to step out with confidence. Check out Personal Touch Boutique at 1958 State Street in East St. Louis.
You are invited to join R89 Blocks. East St. Louis School District 189 invites you to become a part of the Urban Education Teacher Residency Program. You can earn $30,000 and receive supportive training, secure an Illinois teacher's license, obtain a master's degree, and transform lives. Contact East St. Louis School District 189 for more information. While you're at it, don't miss School District 189's Recruitment Fair. The Recruitment Fair will be held on March 23rd from 9 a.m. until 12 noon. All kinds of positions are available. That's right, come out and learn how to become a part of the 89 Blocks. The Recruitment Fair will be held on Saturday, March 23rd from 9 to 12 noon. An array of positions are available.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of What's on Your Mind with Dr. Des. How you doing? I'm Dr. Desiree Holmes, your resident clinical psychologist, and I am here today with our guest. And as a matter of fact, this guest has been on our show before, Dr. Keisha Ross. And so please, let's welcome Dr. Keisha Ross back to What's on Your Mind with Dr. Des. How you doing, Dr. Ross?
I am well, Dr. Des. How are you?
I'm good. And so the last time we had Dr. Ross on the show, we had talked about historical trauma. And I had asked you then, would you be willing to come back onto the show? And you said yes. And so here we have you come back for part 2. So this is the second half of historical trauma. And so what you been up to since the last time we saw you?
Well, I've been busy
Yes, you have.
continuing to do my minority stress resilience psychotherapeutic work in the form of groups, working with African Americans, veterans of color. Also, I've been working on cultural competence nationwide, doing training for psychologists, social workers, case managers, as well as continuing to work on healing in the community through self-empowerment.
Excellent. And that completely ties into what we do here, because here on What's on Your Mind with Dr. Des, it's all about demystifying what mental health is.
Yes.
Providing education, because there's a lot of misinformation in the community,
Yes.
particularly with the Black community. And so What's on Your Mind with Dr. Des, I see us as being able to provide a wealth of knowledge.
Yes.
And you're going to lay some of that knowledge on us today.
Yes.
Okay, so here we go. We're going to jump right on into it. So what we talked about the last time, and just very, very briefly, because I want to spend most of our time on another topic, but very briefly, what is historical trauma?
Historical trauma can most easily be described as multi-generational trauma. So that means an individual did not have to be exposed to the trauma itself. So this can be descendants of individuals who have been exposed to war, slavery, forced assimilation, colonialism, any type of trauma. So it's the descendants of those individuals.
So what I really want to focus on today, because the last time you were on the show when we talked about historical trauma, we mainly focused on individuals. And so today I want to move from that micro level to that more macro level. So
Yes.
I really want to talk about how historical trauma impacts us at that community level, at the cultural level, racial and ethnic group level. And so really want to get more into that. And then how that that people of color, that they've been continuously left behind, continue to struggle in areas of education, employment, and economic upward mobility, as well as socio-political attainment. And all of this continues to be, there's this unseen barrier that blocks many people, particularly people of color, from achieving and attaining. So, Dr. Ross, how does then historical trauma continue to play a major role in the lives of people at that macro level?
Heavy question.
Heavy question.
With heavy answers. So we have to recognize that racial groups, particular groups that have been exposed to historical trauma, it impacts the descendants at this level because there is a physiological impact. Being exposed to stress over many generations and mutates the genes, the DNA.
Yeah.
We inherit, conditions within certain communities. If we think about the Native American or First Nations people, there's a high level of diabetes in their community. We can look to see that when they were forced onto reservations and having to eat government ration food and changing from their culture, the body started to respond differently to that. We also have to look at in the African American or Black people in our community, there's a high level of diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular diseases, including stroke, and a great deal of that is tied into stress. So many people will say, but slavery happened so long ago. Why are we still talking about this? Because as descendants of slaves, there's been an economic gap. So the fact that people have worked for free and didn't receive any dividends, there haven't been any reparations for slavery, it's made it difficult to catch up. So it's a race, and it's not that you can't achieve, but it takes more to get to the finish line. So this idea of pulling yourself up by the bootstrap, it's a myth, because who owns the boot? Who owns the cow? Who owns, the hide? You can go and get it, but it might be at 800%. So this is what we have to look at within communities, that intergenerationally there's that economic gap. So in order to obtain degrees, whether it's college degrees, master's, PhD, it takes a great deal economically, and that is at a lower level in terms of Black communities, Native American communities.
So you touched on that, and one of the things that I want to really make sure that we hit on is this kind of downward mobility. When you talk about political and economic disparities and how they contribute to unjust power relations and class inequality, talk to us about, because I know that there's some studies out there, and there's one more recently that's just recently come out. Talk to us about what's in that study, because I think our listeners and viewing audience really need to hear what you have to say about that.
So the New York Times recently, a few months ago, highlighted an article that was research conducted by Stanford as well as Harvard, and it's looking at comparing Black boys and girls to white boys and girls. So it used to be this idea, you go to school, you get to a certain neighborhood, you arrive. You've arrived. So, a relief, I'm doing better. But what studies are showing that that's not actually the case, that race, it doesn't inoculate you if you get to a certain point and have a degree. So what they're showing is Black boys who are like at the highest level quintile of terms of like being in a wealthy family, same neighborhood as wealthy white boys, they have just as much likelihood to fall to the bottom of the quintile, whereas their white boy counterparts are 5 times more likely to have upward mobility. So what we find is that for Black children and Native American children, there's less upward mobility. So that downward mobility causes people to stay stuck.
Right.
So sometimes it's wondering, well, what's going on? They're going to school, we're getting an education. So these are the political and economic injustice that we see that's systematic. It's woven into institutions and systems. So it's not just on an individual level. It's when you go to apply for loans. It's when you need to get a house. It's when you need scholarships.
Right.
You have to spend more money
Right.
to go to school. Studies
Right.
have also showed that women carry more debt than men for school loans, but then particularly Black women and Latin women carry more debt than their white female counterparts.
You know, and that's such an interesting point, because the neighborhood where we live, and I've shared this in other arenas, and so just briefly, my youngest son, where we live, in 1 year's time have been stopped by the local police
Exactly.
11 times in 1 year. Now, and so they don't know that his mother has a PhD. They don't know that his father did 23 years in the United States Air Force and retired and is a subcontractor for the government. You know, but what they look at and what they see, and it's been to the point to where they will, when they pull him over, they've questioned, where are you going? And one time he was pulled over a block away from his house, and he said, I live here. And they didn't believe him. So when you say that, you have all of these other contributing factors that fall into that. And so what other factors in addition would you say that are contributing to, when we talk about, you know, again, at this macro level, because you've said so much, and I want to unpack that just a little bit more in terms of when we talk about cultural identity. Talk about that and how that also relates to historical trauma.
Well, through colonialism, white supremacy, institutionalized racism, there's been a cultural identity loss. So in the words of the late, great Marcus Garvey, people without a culture is like a tree without roots. So a root has to have something, you know, the root is solid.
Right,
It's what keeps you grounded. So you find that there's this loss of who we are.
Right.
And when you look in many of the communities, there's a high level of violence. There's a high level of so much happening. And part of this is because we don't know who we are. If you look also, there's a move towards materialism. Like if I just obtain things, if I get this car or wear certain kind of clothes, and we see it to the point that even in low income community, people spend money on clothes and items that don't make much sense versus, you know, investing in saving for college or maybe even building capital for a business, because our focus, we've been disenfranchised and marginalized for so long. There's this need to feel that we are someone, and we look for this in material things.
And so we look for that validation in what we wear on our backs, as opposed to what we are also putting inside of our minds and our brains, and helping us to achieve to that other level, not necessarily because richness doesn't always necessarily manifest itself in dollars and cents.
Of course. And don't get me wrong, it's
nice.
It's nice to have
nice.
nice things, but if you have nice things without the foundation, it's like building the house without the foundation. You have to have that foundation first.
All right. I mean, this is really hitting at a place to where I'm really digging this conversation, because I think, again, it's very important for us to understand what's going on. And so as you go around and you talk about historical trauma, and I myself talk about historical trauma as well, and cultural competency and all of these other different things to educate, and not just folks who may not know, but people within our field need to also understand and know. So someone says to you, you know, here you go again with that historical trauma. You know, I'm so sick and tired of hearing about that. What do you say to that? How do you respond to that?
I respond to that in that we live in a country that has a legacy of pushing things under the rug and not wanting to talk about the truth. And we cannot heal unless we talk about it. And in terms of systems, this is so inwoven into institutions that we can't say it doesn't exist, separate but not equal. Although we had quote unquote integration, it's not integrated to a point where we have equality. There is no psychosocial economic justice. So as we talked about in that study, even if you earn the highest degree and make the most money, you're still at greater level of being racially profiled, stopped, because of the color of your skin, or even if you're in a nice neighborhood, do you really belong here? Because again, it's the messages that we have been sent and taught over generations of inferiority to not believe who we are, that we are the original people, that civilization started in Africa, whereas we have a low sense of self now. And this is where we see all the crime in our communities. If we don't love ourselves, we can't love our brothers and our sisters. So then it becomes easy to take a life, or to be, the crabs in the barrel, or pulling each other down. Whereas what we need to work on now is understanding who we are, healing ourselves, and pulling each other up.
And on that note, we're going to have to end with What's on Your Mind with Dr. Des. Dr. Ross, once again, you have given us a phenomenal wealth of information. And so if someone is interested in contacting you, how can they contact you?
They can contact me at drkeishaross@gmail.com. That's drkeisha@gmail.com to set up a phone consultation.
Very good. So once again, here we are with another show on What's on Your Mind with Dr. Des. I am Dr. Desiree Holmes, your resident clinical psychologist. And so thank you for joining in, where we are transforming lives and renewing minds. Thank you for tuning in to Smiles TV with Stephanie Anthony Miles.
And we want to thank you for tuning in to Smiles Television. You can catch us on the P. Chapman app, download it. We're on Amazon, Roku, just the PlayStation, anywhere. Dynasty Television. Keep smiling. You look better when you smile. And remember, only what you do for Christ will last. And Jesus is the Lord. The Lord be magnified.
You are invited to join our 89 blocks. East St. Louis School District 189 invites you to become a part of the Urban Education Teacher Residency Program. You can earn $30,000 and receive supportive training, secure an Illinois teacher's license, obtain a master's degree, and transform lives. Contact East St. Louis School District 189 for more information. While you're at it, don't miss School District 189's recruitment fair. The recruitment fair will be held on March 23rd from 9 a.m. until 12 noon. All kinds of positions are available. That's right, come out and learn how to become a part of the 89 blocks. The recruitment fair will be held on Saturday, March 23rd from 9 to 12 noon. An array of positions are available. The Smiles Television Talk Show wants to showcase your business, organization, church, and activities. If you have an interest in being a guest on Smiles Television Talk Show, or if you have any show ideas, contact Stephanie Anthony Miles at SmilesTV 777 at gmail.com. You may also call 618-741-3770. Tell your friends to subscribe to the Smiles YouTube channel. Let Smiles TV increase your reach. Remember, you look better with smiles. IDEX Media does a lot. From IDEX Photography to IDEX Films. We help create forever memories and forever impressions. Image a nation, image a world. IDEX Media.
Awesome sauce. Yeah, baby.